is Jen, and I'm a licensed athletic trainer, registered yoga teacher, and certified strength and conditioning specialist. I'm going to run you through a brief warm-up that's going to focus our attention on the hips, wrists, and shoulders to prepare the body for training both on the ice and off. Let's get started. We're going to use a combination of functional range conditioning techniques along with yoga to get into our joints in a hope to improve our joint mobility. Starting in tabletop, which is our hands and knees. And with the back toes tucked, we'll sit hips to heels, reach the fingertips forward. Come forward, we'll shift the hips slightly towards the left heel. And we'll flow through, biasing towards the right and left side to get into the ankles, knees, hips, and wrists. Walking the hands through center, we'll take our right foot, step it forward. Pressing our hands into the tops of the knee, we'll lunge forward, getting into our hip flexor on the back leg. Move out, and then we'll move back in. Knee is tracking over the toes, and even if it comes over the toes just a bit, that is okay. Last time, we'll come forward over the front toes, and then we'll reset, taking this leading leg out to the side, moving into a lateral lunge, pressing into the bent knee, getting a stretch right into the inner leg line and adductors on your left leg. So we're just moving through, I'm not counting, I'm just taking several repetitions. And then we're gonna move back through our tabletop, our base shape. Reset here, tucking all 10 toes. Let's lift the knees, engaging our core, pulling the front half of the body towards the back half of the body, holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set the knees down. We'll bring the opposite leg forward, coming into a kneeling lunge. And we'll start with some easy pressing forward movement here. The knee is going to track right over the center of the foot. Again, our focus is on back hip flexor and the front ankle. Reset through our base. We're going to step the left foot out to the side, getting into this lateral Z-shaped lunge. And then again, pressing outwards, knee tracking over the toe. And our goal is to get into the hip on the left side and then the inner leg line on our right leg. Okay, we're going to reset through tabletop. We'll take that core engagement by tucking all 10 toes. Lift and hover, and we'll count for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set the toes down, untuck the toes. We'll take our hands behind the back, placing the fists right above where your belt loops would be. Pressing up, lifting up through the chest, leaning back into extension, sitting the hips towards the heels, reset the spine. Lift, lengthen, extend, sit hips to heels. Good, last one, lift, get really tall, extend back, and then again, hips to the heels. Let's get into the hips and hamstrings. Coming forward onto the fingertips, let's extend the right leg out. We'll press onto the pinky edge of our extended leg. We'll get a lifting through that inner arch. So we can start here pressing outwards. Let's take a nice deep breath in, right into the rib space. Okay, full breath cycle, then we're gonna rotate toes towards the ceiling, and then toes will rotate downwards. External rotation, internal rotation. Good, we'll take 2 more, so 5 all together here. Returning that right foot down, we're gonna come onto the forearms, tucking the back toes, hips to heels. We can take around 5 rock backs. And then we'll prop back up, taking the right hand across, drop the elbow, and rotate to lift. Right elbow drops. As you breathe in, that right elbow will lift. Let's reset that, sweep the leg back. Taking the left leg out, we're just gonna reset to the opposite side. So pressing into the pinky edge. That inner left arch will begin to lift up, even though our toes are still gonna be connected. So we'll press here, pulling the front half of the body up towards the back half of the body. Turning toes up to externally rotate the hip, rotate downwards. Lift up through the toes, rotating, and come back through center. Let's repeat that 2 more times. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna take forearms down, tucking your back right toes, hips to heels. We'll move through a few hip rock backs. And if the forearms are a little bit too deep for the hips, we can come back up onto the hands and the exercise will have the same effect. Okay, left hand to the right shoulder, drop the elbow towards the wrist. As you breathe, rotate towards your left toes. Drop the elbow, inhale, open all the way up, and exhale. Inhaling to lift, exhale to drop the elbow. Good, last one, lift. Exhale to drop. Awesome, reset the legs, and we'll come out of that tabletop shape. We're gonna move on to the shoulders. This last series is gonna focus on the shoulder joint and having rotation in the shoulders. Shoulders and hips are directly related. In fact, they're actually complementary joints. So when we work one, we can actually have a positive influence on the other. So we can use something to kneel on, like a folded up towel, mat, or blanket. So we're gonna come into a half kneel. So my right knee is gonna stay bent, stepping my left leg forward. Reaching the arms out, making fists. We're gonna move through this corkscrew where our fists on our right hand reach all the way up. Left is coming down, stay really, really tall through the spine. Bend through both elbows, tap the back of the neck, rotate through, and tap. Let's move towards the opposite side. So reaching the hands out, making a fist. We'll reach our left arm up, right arm is down. Rotate to bend the elbows, tapping the back. Then reset, and we'll flow through a few of these corkscrews. Rotating through the shoulder joints. And we'll take maybe 4 or 5 on each side. I'm not as worried about the count. But you'll notice that we switched legs just so that we can change our center of gravity a little bit. To round out our warm-up, we're gonna end in what I call a power pose, taking your feet wider than your hips, actually quite a bit wider than your hips. We'll take our hands into fists, bringing them to the low back, we'll bend the elbows. Lift up really tall, get light through the crown of your head so we're not kind of bearing our weight down like gravity pull down. We lift against gravity, and then as you breathe out, we'll begin to lean back. Okay. Hold here, we'll take a full breath cycle, and breathe out. As you inhale, we'll come back up through the center. We'll repeat that 1 more time. Since in hockey we spend a lot of time forward folding and hinging at the hips, we're gonna oppose that motion just to make sure that we maintain the mobility in the anterior half of the body. So again, set up nice and wide through the feet, take the hands behind the back. We're gonna pull the belly button, front half of the body in towards the back half of the body as we bring the arms behind. Pinch the elbows together, get really tall, take a deep breath. As you breathe out, we'll begin to lean back and getting into some extension, both at the hip and at the back. On your next in-breath, we'll come back to standing. We'll shake out through the arms and you are ready to go.